Are you thinking about making a move to the greater Seattle area and you're looking for some other options outside of the city of Seattle to move to? Well, lucky for you, in today's video, I'm going over just that, so stay tuned. Hey everyone, I'm Bryce Greenleaf. I'm a local real estate broker here in the greater Seattle area, and I love making videos all about Seattle, moving to this area and the local real estate, whether that's buying or selling. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my future videos, and give this one a thumbs up if you could. That really helps me out with reaching more people with this video. So I love helping out everybody that's moving to this area, answering your questions about living here, some different options that you should consider in terms of locations and real estate. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me here at my info on the screen. I'd be more than happy to answer any of the questions that you have. But like I said, on today's video, we're gonna talk about some surrounding areas of Seattle. So I've made a couple previous videos on moving to King County, which is the county that Seattle's in, but in that video, I covered some other cities within King County outside of Seattle that you can consider. And then I made a video on moving to Snohomish County, which is the county just north of the Seattle area, with some suburbs up there that you could consider and things to think about. And so on this video, I'm gonna talk about Pierce County. And Pierce County is the county just south of Seattle. It's the county south of King County. So there are some good options down in this area as well that you wanna consider. So continuing on that trend of looking at some other suburbs outside of the city of Seattle. All right, so I've got 4 cities that I'm gonna go over here. If I went over every single city in Pierce County, this would be a very long video. So I'm gonna go over 4 of the most popular cities that people are moving to that you might wanna take a look at. All right, so city number 1 is Tacoma, and Tacoma is 33 miles south of Seattle. Tacoma is the 3rd largest city in the state of Washington. So it's a really big area and it is growing very fast. Before COVID hit early in 2020, Tacoma was one of the fastest real estate markets in the entire country because there were so many people moving out that way. The prices in Seattle were getting so insane that it was displacing a lot of those Seattle residents into surrounding suburbs, and Tacoma was one of those spots that became extremely popular with people moving out to. Now, Tacoma has a population just over 221,000 people, and this has grown at 0.78% annually. So, like I said, a lot of growth, a lot of people moving out that way, and traditionally, Tacoma wasn't necessarily a place that was looked at in a positive light. When I was growing up, Tacoma had really a negative feel to it. There was a lot of crime, drugs, and things down in that area that you did not want to be around or associate with. But recently, it has really become revitalized and is becoming a very popular area, a good area where families are moving to. So it's definitely something you should consider if you're looking to live outside of the city of Seattle and you want a cheaper alternative. The median home price right now in Tacoma is $410,000. And if you were looking for just a small 3-bedroom starter home, you could find something around $300,000. If you were looking at renting a home instead of buying, if you're looking at a 3-bedroom rental, you'd be looking at about $1,900 a month. For a 1-bedroom apartment, about $1,200 a month, and for a 2-bedroom apartment, about $1,500 a month on the low end. So this gives you a good general idea of what to expect when it comes to home prices. Like I said, the median home price for those of you looking to purchase a home in Tacoma is $410,000. You compare this to the median price in Seattle, which is up near $800,000. This is a huge drop off and a great alternative to live somewhere quite a bit cheaper. Now, like I said, Tacoma's a big area, so it's got a lot of stuff that attract people to it. You know, you've got the Tacoma Dome there, which hosts a lot of concerts and sporting events and all different types of activities and events for the family to go enjoy. They've also got Point Defiance Zoo, which is really the 2nd biggest zoo in this area outside of Woodland Park Zoo. So it's a great spot to go down to and hang out, spend a day in the sun there with the family. And also near the Tacoma Dome, they've got LeMay Car Museum, which I've been to a couple of times. It's an amazing car museum. You can check out all the classic rides there and some newer ones as well. And then there's also the Tacoma Mall in Tacoma, where you can do all the shopping that you could possibly need, and it's a really big area and a lot of stores to look into. All right, so city number 2 I'm going to talk about here is Puyallup, and Puyallup is about 35 miles south of Seattle. It's got a population of just over 43,000, and it's growing at 1.19% annually, so that's really strong growth. Along with Tacoma, a lot of people are going down to the Puyallup area for, again, more cheaper alternatives to living closer to Seattle. So good home prices down here compared to really the King County areas that a lot of people are attracted to when moving to Seattle. Puyallup has a median home price of $455,000, and if you were looking for a 3-bedroom starter home, you could find something about $350,000. And now all of these median prices that I'm talking about and these starter home prices, that is for today. I mean, I'm talking about early March in 2021. So if you're watching this video much further on down the line, these prices have changed. So we need to look at updated prices. But as of right now in March 2021, these are the prices that you should be able to expect. If you were looking for a rental, a 3-bedroom home would run you right around $2,000 a month. For a 1-bedroom apartment, about $1,300 a month, and a 2-bedroom apartment, about $1,600 a month. In terms of things to do in Puyallup, there's opportunities to go golfing. There are a lot of parks, and there's the South Hill Mall, which is another big mall to do all the shopping that you need, as long as restaurants and breweries and all that kind of stuff. All right, now city number 3 I'm going to talk about here is Auburn, and Auburn is 26 miles south of Seattle. It has a population of just over 80,000, and it's growing actually negatively at 0.4%. So that's annually. So there hasn't been a lot of growth in the Auburn area over the last year. But it is still a city that you could consider because it does have lower home prices, like all the options we're going over here. It does have a median home price a little bit higher than the previous two. The median home price here is about $550,000, and if you were looking for a 3-bedroom starter home, you'd be looking right around $450,000. In terms of rentals, for a 3-bedroom rental, you'd be looking at about $2,300 a month. For a 1-bedroom apartment, about $1,300 a month, and for a 2-bedroom apartment, about $1,600 a month. Now, Auburn is home to the Muckleshoot Casino, which is a very popular casino for people to head down to. They've got an outlet mall, so again, all the shopping that you need, plenty of places to go to, and this is really busy on the weekends, of course, as it is an outlet mall. And they've got Emerald Downs as well, so you can go take in some horse racing, place some bets, and spend the day down there. All right, in city number 4 I'm going to go over here is Gig Harbor, Washington. Now this is 43 miles southwest of Seattle, and so when you're comparing it to Tacoma, you actually have to go through Tacoma to get to Gig Harbor. You go through Tacoma and head west, head north again a little bit to the west side, and you'll hit Gig Harbor. Gig Harbor's a small area, just over 11,000 in population, but it is growing really rapidly at 2.84% annually. So a lot of people moving out to the Gig Harbor area. Now, Gig Harbor is so attractive because of all that it offers, being right on the water. There are tons of parks that you can go enjoy on the waterfront. You can take a tour on a boat. You can rent some kayaks, some paddle boards. There's really a lot to do down in Gig Harbor. There's breweries, waterfront taverns, lots of restaurants, little shops. Gig Harbor is a really cool place to spend the day and enjoy the sun. Now, the median home price here is quite a bit higher than these previous cities at $690,000. Now, this has a lot to do with the fact there are some really expensive homes in Gig Harbor, like waterfront homes and stuff that kind of weigh that median price up there. So if you were looking for a starter home, a really small 3-bedroom starter home in Gig Harbor, you could find something around $450,000. In terms of rentals, for a 3-bedroom rental, you'd be looking about $2,400 a month. For a 1-bedroom apartment, about $1,500 a month, and for a 2-bedroom apartment, about $1,900 a month. All right, so I've got an interactive map here from bestplaces.net that'll help us kind of look further into all of the areas here in Pierce County and compare them to the cost of living in some other areas like King County. So let's jump into the map here. So you can see on this map, the different shaded areas indicate the cost of living. So the darker the shade, the higher the cost of living. So you can see Seattle here, which is King County, pretty high cost of living. And then when you go to the east side here, which is our highest cost of living areas to be, where you're looking at homes for the most part over $1 million. But to go to Pierce County, we're going to come down south here and we're going to look at these areas. So I mentioned Tacoma as the first one, as one of your cheapest options. Tacoma, like I said, is the 3rd biggest city in Washington, so it's a good option to consider when you've also got some low house prices and some job opportunities as well. It's definitely something you want to check out. Gig Harbor, like I said, the last one that I went over here, just to the west of Tacoma. Of course, more expensive. It's right on the water, so there are going to be some more expensive homes there, but there are still some good starter home options, like I said, in a $450 to $500 range that you might be able to get into. Then we've got some other places down here like Lakewood. We've got Parkland, which is really cheap, Spanaway. I mentioned Puyallup over here, and you keep going over to Bonnie Lake. Lake Tapps gets a little bit more expensive, but this is kind of the general gist of what these cost of livings look like in these areas. This is the overall cost of living. So when we go to housing, that's really what's determining this. As you can see, the shades stay pretty similar. And when you go to other things like grocery costs, it's staying the same everywhere. Transportation is going to be the same everywhere. Utilities. So we're really looking at home costs. That's really the only difference between any of these cities that you might want to consider, other than commute times. Depending on where you're going to be living and where you're going to be working, the commute time is definitely something you want to consider. Now, if you're gonna be working right in Seattle, if you're gonna try and live down here in Pierce County, it's gonna be a little bit difficult with rush hour traffic. It's not gonna be an easy commute for you. There are people that do it, but you are gonna spend 2 to 3 hours at least a day in the car, traveling to and from work, unless you're going at really off hours and you're missing the rush hour traffic. But definitely something you want to consider is the traffic. If you're going to be working right in Seattle and you're trying to live all the way down here, I wouldn't jump right into it right away without knowing what that commute might be like. So definitely look into that. All right, you guys, well, this wraps up my video on moving to Pierce County, what to expect, and some different places to consider. So like I said, if you've got any questions, reach out to me here at my info on the screen. You can call, text, or email me, or simply comment down below. If you've got questions on this or questions for future videos that you'd like me to cover, I'd be more than happy to. Like I said, make sure you subscribe to the channel and give this one a thumbs up so I can reach more people with this video. But I appreciate you watching this one, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.